Hello everyone, welcome back to Real Reds Talk, the number one independent fan channel dedicated to Manchester United. This is your preview for the game against Aston Villa at Villa Park, and it is Unai Emery's first game in charge. United looking to cement a place in the top four before the players get on the plane to Qatar for the World Cup, and it starts tomorrow with a tricky game, as said, against Aston Villa. Just the two of us today on the preview. Seems like a reoccurring theme. Treyas, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing fairly well. How are you doing, Nick?
Yeah, I think you've had a slight bit of lag there, but I'm going to guess you asked how I am. I'm doing absolutely fine. Thank you for asking.
Yeah.
I know you that well. I know what you was asking. For everyone watching, just to let you know, we are partaking in Movember this month and growing these beautiful tashes, as you can see, to raise awareness for mental health. I'm not sure what we're on at the minute. I think we're over £50 at a minute, and our target's 200. So we're already a quarter of the way there. So thank you to everyone who's already donated. If you would like to donate, the link is in the video description, or just head to our Instagram and it's in the link tree there. Also, if you want to subscribe to the channel as well, you're more than welcome to do that and smash a like on the video. We're going to start the preview off, Shreyas, with a mini game of true or false. So I'm going to read out a fact or non-fact, and I want you to let me know if you think it's true or false. So the first one I'll start off with. The last time we lost away at Aston Villa was 1995. True or false?
False.
It's true. So they against Aston Villa is actually, in terms of clubs in the English League, we have the longest record without losing at their ground currently, as it stands. Maybe that'll change tomorrow with there being a potential banana skin. Yeah. Another one I've got for you. Ashley Young has made more appearances for Aston Villa than Manchester United. True or false?
False.
Correct. Yeah, that's correct. So it is false. So he made 190 appearances for Villa, but he made 192 appearances for United. So only two more. But you got it right. That's all that matters. Yeah. Then the last one we have, Erik Ten Hag has never played a match against Unai Emery before. True or false?
False.
Nope, true. Never come up against him before. When I was looking at the coaches he's played, none of the teams that Unai Emery's managed, Sevilla, Villarreal, PSG, when he was there, yeah, never played against him. So yeah, nice little mixed bag there to start off with. Tomorrow night? No, it's 2 o'clock kickoff, innit? What am I on about? Tomorrow afternoon. Aston Villa welcome Manchester United to the West Midlands. Unai Emery will be in the dugout as he takes charge of Villa for the first time after replacing Steven Gerrard, their former manager, who I'm sure as a channel we're happy that he's gone, because obviously a Scouse player. Erik Ten Hag's side are unbeaten in 5 games and have not lost in their last 23 visits to Villa Park, winning 15 and drawing 8. Our away record against Villa is the longest run a team has had, as I mentioned before, against any other team in the English League history. Summer signings, Diego Carlos and Boubacar Kamara will remain on the sidelines with long-term injuries for Aston Villa, and United themselves have a couple of doubts with Anthony missing the game on Thursday night. Jadon Sancho was ill, Martial still here, neither there, not sure what's going on with him. And Bruno Fernandes is suspended for the game as well due to an accumulation of yellow cards. In our last 5 meetings in the league, we've won 3, they've won 1, and there's been 1 draw. So a little bit of a mixed bag, but you would think the history books are in our favour heading into this one. Sure has. Just one fact I want to point out to you. 1 goal against Sociedad, 1 goal against West Ham, 1 goal against Chelsea. Is this becoming a worrying theme for you, the lack of goals, basically?
Yeah, and I think the reason why we are actually, able to win those games or draw those games, why we were, able to stay effective in those games is because of the back 5 and Casemiro. I think if you take even one element out of that back 5, or if you take Casemiro out of that lineup, then immediately we lose those games, because the backline that we have at the moment is able to absorb pressure a lot well, and they're able to play out from the back quite well as well. So I think that is one of the reasons why we were able to get something out of those games. But I think moving forward with the kind of games we'll be having now that we are going to be in the playoff rounds of the Europa League as well, I think we can't really, bank on getting those 1-0 or near edge victories every single time. I think when we go into the final third, I think we either become too hasty or we actually overthink a lot, and that is also one of the reasons why it is affecting our goal scoring options a lot because the I think right now Marcus Rashford is the top goal scorer for us this season up until now, and the reason that he is the top goal scorer is because whenever Rashford has been able to score goal, it is because he's been able to move into space or he's been able to get a clear cut ball. If you take out those 5 or 6 goals that he scored, or 7 to 8 goals that he scored this season, the goals that we scored, they've actually come of defensive errors from the other team. It is not like we've been able to create a really good pass or a good through ball, or our players are able to work off overloads really quickly. I think when we move into the final third, our wingers kind of shut down. They just start to look out from the for the extra pass and try to move the ball more centrally, whereas they should be crossing in the ball a lot more. I think in the past 2 to 3 games, most of our goals have come off crosses and headers. So I think that's one area where we actually really need to look into. And yeah, considering the profile of players that we've got right now, especially the ones who are fit, like Rashford, Ronaldo, Anthony. Anthony's still a doubt, but up until now he's been there. So I think if you got someone like Ronaldo who's going to be in the box, I think we should definitely be putting in more crosses, especially, like you mentioned, teams against teams like Sociedad, teams like, I would even say, Newcastle when we came up against them. These are really, really organized teams. And I think sometimes it just takes, some aerial ability and headers to actually, uh, clear the game out a bit. So, yes, I think the lack of goals definitely is a big worry. And I think we definitely need to take more control when it comes to us, attacking for the number 10, the wingers, as well as the striker.
Well, just as a side note, you speak about lack of goals. That currently Manchester City and Fulham are playing, and it's 1-1, and City have just got a penalty right at the end, which is a little bit annoying. But yeah, just conceded a penalty. Kevin De Bruyne has gone down in the box. I mean, I don't know if there's any contact there at all. But yeah, I'm sure if they do get the penalty, they score that one. In regards to what you were talking about with, we are keeping clean sheets, but there's a lack of goals. It feels similar to, do you remember that kind of phase towards the end of August when we played Leicester, Southampton, and they were 1-0, and we were kind of clinging on a little bit, and it was like, ugh. Feels like we're going into that phase and kind of dragging ourselves now until we, at least until we get to the World Cup. But with this manager coming in, Unai Emery at Villa Park, I don't. It feels like Ten Hag's not got much to work with there. I don't know how he's going to assess this game or approach it tactically, because yes, he can watch all the Villarreal games he wants of late, but it's different personnel, different profile. Villa have completely different players, so that's why for me, it feels like a little like potential of a banana skin, and the fact that these teams get manager bounces. That's another thing to consider as well. Do you feel like that?
Yeah, definitely. I think especially teams like Aston Villa, I would say the profile that they've had over the years, I think they definitely get a boost when a new manager comes in. We've seen it all the time with teams who are mid-table. We've seen that with Crystal Palace as well. The moment Patrick Vieira came in, they actually got a really, really good boost. They were able to dictate games a lot well. And yeah, I think with Unai Emery, he's got a completely new set of players to work with. Some really, really different players if I have to compare it to his setup at Villarreal. So it is going to be, interesting as to how, he's able to work with them, whether he, goes for a similar formation and a similar play style to Villarreal, or if he actually changes things about a bit, because Villa have got some of their big players out on the bench. And right now, judging it from a Manchester United point of view, he would definitely be looking into the fact that Bruno's out, and our front three aren't really scoring that many goals at the moment. I think our defense seems very, very intact. I think our midfield, I would say right now it's 50-50. I think Casemiro, I would say, is by far the most consistent player in our midfield. I think, except that with Ericsson or Fred or Bruno, I think the jury is still out as to how they perform game after game. So there's something to look on to in there as well. But Yeah, I think it is going to, for us, it is going to be a pressure game as well, because we do need to get these 3 points. With You never know if Chelsea drop points today, or as to what happens in the Arsenal game tomorrow as well. So it is, I would say, a really really good opportunity for us to actually move into the top four, or probably even third if things go our way. And yeah, I think Bruno not playing today, I think it is just two sides of the coin. I think if we play very well, people definitely would come out and say we play better without Bruno. If we don't play that well, then probably we would be seeing someone like a Donny van de Beek featuring, or you never know what Ten Hag actually wants to do with this team, because some of his calls have been bizarre. They've worked, but you can't. I think he's very unpredictable as to how he picks his team.
Yeah, the Bruno Fernandes one's a weird one because I thought Donny coming in, Ten Hag obviously started Donny on Thursday night to get him ready, because he knew Bruno Fernandes was missing the game on Sunday. But Donny was a little underwhelming for me on Thursday night. It wasn't amazing. But neither was Bruno Fernandes in the same respect. I know he was out of position, but both of them didn't exactly light up the game. So that is a worry going into this game. But just going back a little bit to Unai Emery as a coach, this is a guy who's he took Villarreal to the semi-finals of the Champions League. He's won French League Cups, Super Cups, couple promotions, and I think there's a stigma attached to his name because of the way he went with Arsenal. Because obviously he didn't naturally succeed there, but I even thought then he didn't get enough time. Do you think he deserves more respect as a manager, Unai?
I think considering how he's performed against us in the past couple of seasons, I think we definitely should. And I think whenever he's come up against Manchester United, he's been able to give us headaches. He's been able to, provide us with a tight game, not a kind of game where, you would expect to see fast flowing or liquid football. I think the game is very rough. I think he likes to break the rhythm of a team, especially ones who like to pass, and especially teams who like to play with high intensity. We saw him do that against teams like Bayern Munich as well, who like to play fast liquid football, and he was able to counter that really well. And right now, I think Manchester United is in a budding stage when it comes to playing high intensity football. I think there are still a lot of tweaks to be made. I think there are still a lot of additions to be made into the squad, and we can see our performances dropping every single week. Like one week we play really good, but we are not able to keep that up because of the capacity of games that we play every week. So,
and sorry, I was going to just add on to that point as well that he was making. An interesting point to make on that as well is the fact that the World Cup is 15 days around the corner. It's evident we have lack of squad depth. We've seen players recently dropping like flies. Son, Werner, Varane, talented players, and many others are a doubt for the World Cup now. When we look at our team, Shreyas, and we look at someone like a Ronaldo, let's say, where we know for a fact we don't know for a fact, but it's probably going to be his last World Cup, and he will not want to get injured before that.
Exactly.
So do you feel there's a sense of that's playing in the minds and they're holding back a little bit? Let's say they're going into a 50-50 challenge and they've got duels to win. They're slightly restricted because they've got World Cups in the back of the mind.
Yeah, I think definitely that comes into play, because even take out Ronaldo out of that equation, any single player who is going to the World Cup happens every 4 years. So for a player, if he misses out on this World Cup, he has to wait probably for 8 years to actually feature in the World Cup. And with Manchester United, I don't think it's even a question about whether players have a question at the back of their minds whether they go in for a tackle or not, whether they make a risky challenge or not, probably get injured. I think the lack of squad depth actually makes us more vulnerable to getting injuries. Like you see our entire line, Lisandro Martinez completely overplayed. You look at Diego Dallo, he's been playing every single game for us up until now. So
running him into the ground, really.
Yeah, and he's been performing really well. Even if you take that factor out, he's been performing and improving every single week. Why the hair doesn't go to the World Cup? I think it's illegal, and Luis Enrique should be arrested for that. But
sixth choice. By the way.
Yeah. So Spain will be knocked out of the group stage because of that, but separate questions. I think you can even see Anthony. He just came in. He was starting to grow into the team, but he's gotten injured, and the biggest reason about him getting injured is the capacity of games that we've been playing. It's like in 9 days we're playing 3 to 4 games, so it is only natural for a player's energy to drop or for him to get injured, because it's not like we're playing easy games where you can actually take these players off in the 45th minute and get them some rest. These are high intensity games that we play every single week.
Yeah.
And it has been high drama with United at the moment as well in the past few weeks.
Do you think the next couple of games we've got, next 3-4 games, we can get through them without getting a big injury?
I think I think we could, and I hope so, because I wouldn't want any player at the in our lineup to actually get injured and miss out on the World Cup. I think it's a very big event, and considering the demographic that we have at the club right now, you wouldn't want someone like Lisandro Martinez to get injured or
Oh
someone.
God, no.
Yeah.
No.
So
I don't even want to say that just in
exactly,
case you jinx it.
exactly. So I hope not. But if it does happen, I really wouldn't be surprised, because the way these players have to perform, and the way these players, have to actually move into the pitch every single week, it does take a lot out of them. I think after all, I do understand that they're athletes, but they do have a human body. So the way we play as well, it definitely has its toll. The Premier League isn't the most physical league in the world for no reason. So
Yeah.
I think it has been lucky for Varane in a way as well, that he might be able to make it to the World Cup squad, because I think every single United fan who saw that match, the reaction that Varane had when he got injured,
Yeah.
he was basically
He
screaming
looked
into his shirt.
Yeah, he looked like he knew it
Yeah.
was over, didn't he?
Yeah.
But the reason why I ask this question, because I thought in the Sociedad game in particular, there was the lack of the fatigue in that squad. It was just obvious for me. And players like you just mentioned, then Diego Dallo, who played 23 matches in a row or something, 90 minutes every couple of days. Could there be a case of burnout at least? If
Yeah.
you don't think it's going to be an injury, there could be a serious case of burnout if we're not careful.
Yeah. But I think the biggest problem right now is we can't really do anything about it, because we've not got the players in our squad to actually replace the ones that we've got in the starting lineup. We expected certain players to step up, like we expected someone to come in and actually be able to replace Christian Eriksen in that squad, so we can actually get him some rest. But we've seen Eriksen's level dropping in as well.
But he was poor on Thursday as well.
And
really poor. One of his worst games.
exactly. And when the season started, I would say for the first 2 months, he was by far our best player on the pitch. But then you can gradually see his level dropping. You can see him getting tired. You can see he gets knackered, and that's just because we've not got enough squad depth in our team that we can actually rest these players. Because the moment we rest these players, our quality completely drops. Even now, when Christian Eriksen isn't particularly playing at his best, even now, if you take him out of the squad, our quality drops. And
Yeah.
I think it's really sad for certain players in our team who have to, actually play the full 90 minutes, like 4 times in 9 days or 10 days, because it does take a lot of toll on your body if you play probably
Absolutely.
360 minutes. So I think it's going definitely. I think when you mention burnout with certain players, it definitely is going to happen because of the lack of options we have at the moment. And I hope Ten Hag is able to work his way around it, because we need to remember that he doesn't really have all his signings in yet. You never know how the Glazers will be, operating in the winter window as well. So Ten Hag,
Well, that's something I was just literally
Yeah.
about to pick up on now. With the January window, it don't look like
Yeah.
we're going to get any reinforcements. So it's going to
Exactly.
be a long, hard season,
Yeah.
isn't it? Especially with the World Cup as well.
yeah. And just imagine if Ronaldo actually does manage to get a move out in January, then our front line is basically Rashford, Anthony, and Sancho. And
Yeah.
except that
And
we-
Martial's touch and go.
Exactly.
because of
So
his
we've
injury. You just
not
don't know.
we've not particularly got a fit striker or a fit attacker in our team, and then suddenly your focus shifts to the youth players. You see players like Alejandro Garnacho or players like Anthony Elanga getting overplayed. Something that happened last season was Elanga got overplayed, and I don't want
Yeah.
the same happening to Garnacho.
Well, focusing a little bit more on our strengths going into this game, because we spoke about Unai Emery,
Yeah.
we spoke about Aston Villa. How, if you're the manager tomorrow, how do you go about affecting that game? What are you looking to target? What are you looking to exploit? Because as you said, Unai Emery is very rigid. His defense, he'll get him compact.
Yeah.
He'll frustrate the life out of us, and we struggle with that at times. In terms of finishing at the minute, it's just shocking. So maybe, I don't know, you want to talk about, touch on player personnel, tactical, whatever it is you would focus on for tomorrow.
I think definitely when you mention Unai Emery, you would expect a really, really, balanced setup. You would expect the side to actually be really compact and organized. So I think rather than us, like we've seen at times, that suddenly when we want to get the goal in the last 5 to 10 minutes, our players start to attack more and move into spaces a lot more. But by the time they start doing that, it's really, really late. I would rather want us to start the game on the front foot. Like even if want to take it a bit easy, if you want to slow down the game a bit, do it after the first 30 to 35 minutes. But at least for the first 30 to 35 minutes, especially against an Unai Emery side, play with high intensity, play with high speed, play with quick passing, and try and get an early goal. Because the moment you get an early goal against Unai Emery's side, spaces are going to open up immediately, and that's when players like Marcus Rashford will be able to thrive and actually cause some damage. Uh, I don't want us to once again start the game on the back foot. Try and just match Aston Villa on the same level. Try and just play the game at the same pace, because that's not going to help us. I don't want us to actually get a draw or some a result along those lines, because I think this is definitely a game we can win. Aston Villa are not as strong as they can be. This is one, like you mentioned, this is Unai Emery's first game, so it is going to take him time as well to get these players into his team style and into his player formations as well. So rather than that, I would want us to attack a lot more. I don't want us to approach this game like the way we did against Real Sociedad. That against Sociedad we were playing a lot on the back foot. We were trying to counter press them. We were waiting
long
for them.
Ball at times
Exactly.
as well.
I don't want that to happen. So I would want us to start the game with high intensity. Is really, really get an early goal, because the moment you get an early goal, especially against these sides, it gives you that confidence and cushion to actually build forward in the game.
Yeah, an early goal is definitely going to be important. Another thing that's going to be important is who's going to be available for this game. Because I feel like if tomorrow we hear the news that Martial's available and Anthony's back on the right-hand side, I'm a lot more confident.
Yeah.
If we have to go against them with Ronaldo, with Lang and Rashford, I don't see it. I think it's going to be a banana skin, and we end up drawing that game, honestly, because I think Unai Emery just frustrate the life out of us. And then they still have attacking players, good players like Coutinho, Danny Ings, Watkins. They've got good quality players there, so...
And they like to turn up against us. They like to turn up against us every single time.
It's going to be an interesting tactical battle anyway. I think that's how it will pan out, and I think it'll be very small kind of scoreline and go down like that. But we'll get into score predictions a little bit later. I want to do some quick fire questions with you, Shreyas. So, will we score more than one goal tomorrow? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Will we keep a clean sheet?
Yeah.
Yeah. Will Anthony Martial start?
No.
Who will play in Bruno's position?
Eriksen.
Will Marcus Rashford get a goal or an assist?
Assist.
An assist. Okay. And then we do our predicted 11. So I'll do mine first, and then, of course, as always, your lovely self, I'll ask you for yours. David De Gea in net. Diego Dallo, I think he'll go with Maguire and Lisandro, because Maguire didn't play Thursday night. I think they're chopping and changing quite a bit and rotating. So I think Maguire and Lisandro will partner. I think Luke Shaw at left back again. Maybe I've got a little feeling the Malacia might come in at left back. Don't know why, just a feeling I've got. And then I think Donny, Casemiro, Eriksen will make up the midfield. I think Anthony will be fit, so he'll come in on the right-hand side. But I think Martial will be on the bench, so we'll start Ronaldo and then Rashford, of course, our kind of star player at the minute on the left. What do you think?
Yeah, once again, 16 people in the chat as well. So please make sure to subscribe to the channel. We are on 717 subscribers right now. 718 subscribers actually. Thank you for the subscribe, and make sure to subscribe to the channel. Except that for the predicted lineup, I think David De Gea in net. Once again, Dallo, Lisandro Martinez. I think he's still playing Lindelof in this game. Just because I think we need someone to actually complement Lisandro Martinez while passing the ball out from the back. Maybe Maguire on in the second half or something, if we want to attack the game a bit aerially, or Villarreal approach the game a bit aerially. But if not, I think No reason to drop Victor Lindelof. At left back, I think he'll still play Luke Shaw. I think for him it is still a big game to actually rotate a lot, because this game, if we do win, it might put us in third position, which is a really good position to be in before going in for the World Cup. So
Just very quickly, Shreyas,
yeah,
on that, you make a really good point there, because Arsenal play Chelsea and Liverpool play Spurs as well.
yeah,
So there's definitely going to be points dropped from potential
exactly.
competitors for that
Yeah,
top four spot.
yeah. So you never know. Even if Arsenal lose, even in top, whatever the result comes out tomorrow, I think it will definitely work towards our favor. And I hope, we are able to get the 3 points and actually, get some pressure in on the top sides. I think a win tomorrow definitely gets us into the top four. So if we do move into the third position, it's just the better for us. So
Of course.
I wouldn't really, make any tweaks in the back line. I think the midfield is going to be something to actually see. I think Casemiro
Mm.
definitely starts. I think Casemiro, Ericsson, and Donny van de Beek. Because Bruno is suspended. I hope Donny is able to step up. I hope Donny actually has a good game.
He needs
And
to, because
yeah,
a lot of people are criticising him after Thursday night, and it's you
yeah,
thinking, but it's one game back. It's his first game back.
yeah.
Like,
He hasn't played in
sometimes players need a run
exactly.
of games.
Yeah, he hasn't played since pre-season pretty much. So, um,
Yeah.
I hope he's able to, approach this game in a much positive way. Except that I think Garnacho, Rashford, and Ronaldo.
Ooh. Wow. So who plays on the right hand side then?
Rashford.
Rashford. Okay. Okay. Interesting. Maybe that's where the goal will come from. Garnacho again. He took it really well on Thursday, didn't
Yeah,
he? Like really,
he
really
got
good goal
his
from him.
got his, I would say, dream goal to actually start
Mm.
off with. And I think if you actually, I'm just going as to how, Ten Hag actually, has come out with our club. Ever since he's come in, he said that people will have to take, if they want to earn their spot in this team, it has to be through merit. So right now, I would say Garnacho hasn't really done anything to be dropped. I think he's pretty much, proven that he should be a part of the team. And if he's performing well, I think we should award him with a start. And like you said, who knows? He could be the person who actually scores for us against Villa. He was the reason why
Yeah.
we actually won the game against Sociedad, which we could have lost as well, the way Sociedad were actually playing in that game. So
Yeah.
Garnacho definitely. I think Ronaldo, because we pretty much got no one. If Martial is fit, I would definitely start him, because I think he offers us much more sharpness when he plays. But if it's not the case, then definitely start Ronaldo, because I wouldn't want to start Rashford as a number 9 in this game. This is not a game for him to play as a striker. I would want Rashford to either play as a 10 or even as a winger, but not as a striker.
But I would argue the fact that Ronaldo has been equally as poor.
Yeah.
Like, he's got 2 goals
Yeah.
this season. We're like 14 weeks, 15 weeks into the season. He's not been great at all. And I honestly, I think tomorrow's game, unlike of late, is the hardest kind of team to predict, because of set injuries and suspensions, etc., all that kind of stuff. So I'm
Yeah.
really looking forward to the team lineup tomorrow. They will not, for everyone watching, let us know your predicted 11s in the comment section
21
and your
people in
score
the chat.
predictions.
So please make sure to
Yeah.
interact in the chat as well.
Yeah,
What are your score
Scro-
predictions and your predicted lineups?
absolutely. And subscribe to the channel as well. That bottom right corner there, it says subscribe. Please click that button. We're trying to get up to 1,000 subs. So if we can do that with your help, we'd really appreciate it. We're doing something for charity this month as well, Movember, where we're raising awareness for mental health. If you want to donate to that, the link is in the video description, or just head over to our Instagram and it's on our link tree there. We really appreciate the donations so far. Let's do score predictions then, Shreyas. I'll let you go first on this, because I'm a bit umming and ahhing about it. I'm not too sure.
I think 2-0. I think 2-0 would be the result tomorrow, just because I think Villa are actually missing some of the really good players tomorrow. And I think our back five are looking really, really intact. They haven't really leaked a goal in the past 2 to 3 games. So definitely something to, actually look into and build up on. So I hope our once again, our backline has a good game. And I think going forward, I think if Garnacho plays, I think Garnacho scores again. And except that, I think Lisandro Martinez scores his first goal tomorrow.
Yeah, it's very interesting, because I feel like giving 2 answers. It depends on who's who's injured, who comes back into the squad. I really think it can have that much of an effect.
Yeah.
On the team, who plays, what personnel comes in, because Martial can be fresh. He's not played for like 13 weeks, I think it is. And anytime he has got an opportunity, he's scored goals, hasn't he? And he's got assists. He had 20 minutes against Everton, got an assist for Antony on the right hand. Was it for Antony? Yeah, for Antony.
Yeah.
Scored numerous goals when he's come on as a cameo as well. So he's really important for the game tomorrow. If they don't start, I think we probably managed to get a clean sheet. Because of the way, like you said, but the back five has been absolutely solid. De Gea as well, it has to be said. Some of the saves he's been pulling off. The saves with his head, basically, against, that one's for you, Shreyas. The saves, like, he has been pulling off some world-class saves, don't get me wrong. So, that back five's been absolutely solid. And when you have a platform like that, you always give yourself a chance. But I just think if we have the same front three as Thursday night, I don't see us scoring against the United, honestly. Against the United Emery team, I think we probably end up getting frustrated and it'll be a 0-0. I said that in the group chat to my friends before. So it could be I said it about Newcastle, the same thing. We played Newcastle Sunday a few weeks ago. I said that could be a banana skin, I think, and that ended up 0-0. We got frustrated. We didn't take our chances. It's not really chance creation that's annoying me at the minute. It's just the finishing.
Yeah.
Like, there's been so many opportunities. If we would have took out some of our chances, the points we'd have on the table, honestly. Like, if we look at the Premier League table right now,
Yeah.
let me just have a look how it's shaping up, because I want to see what effect this will have us getting 3 points. Haaland did score that penalty, by the way, for Man City, so City did get the 3 points, which is fucking frustrating. They got it right at the end with 10 men. Super frustrating. But as I said before, Arsenal play Chelsea and Spurs play Liverpool. So points are going to be dropped there. We're fifth with a game in hand on Tottenham, Newcastle and City on 23 points. So if we win our game tomorrow, Newcastle haven't played yet, have they? A lot of the teams play tomorrow. So Newcastle play Southampton at the same time. Spurs play Liverpool at 4:30, and then Chelsea versus Arsenal is the early kickoff. So it could really shape up like loads of different ways. Chelsea in a bit of a rut at the minute. Arsenal doing well, but Stamford Bridge is always a tricky place to go.
Yeah.
So it's hard to predict. It really is hard to predict. But if we win, we go on 26 points, which will be level on points with Tottenham, who's in third place. So, what are your thoughts on that? Give us your thoughts on the top four shaping up, etc.
I think the top four right now is really, really volatile. I think Newcastle are definitely a side I didn't really expect. I did expect them to, be in the top 8, but the way that they've been performing this season, and the way Eddie Howe is actually, getting the best out of his players that he's got, especially I would say Bruno Guimaraes and players like Kieran Trippier, I think they've been performing really, really well. Except that I think Man City are definitely going to be a team that is going to be in first or second throughout the season. So taking them out, I think Arsenal and Tottenham, these are the two sides that we've got to attack the most, because Tottenham, they either draw or they win. They don't really lose those many games, but they do draw a lot of games, and in those game weeks, if we are able to get the 3 points, I think we close down the gap a lot more. And the fact that we've actually played a game less does work into our favor. I think any team definitely in the Premier League would want to have played that extra game itself and gotten the 3 points, but right now in the position we are in, it would be better to actually play a game less, considering the fitness levels of our players and the intensity that we play with. So I think for us the most important thing is that we definitely need to keep on winning games. We need to keep this winning run going, and I think I think Siver has mentioned this in the channel a lot of times as well, that if you actually want to get top 4, Aston Villa, Southampton, Leicester, these are the sort of teams that you actually have to beat and ensure that you've got the 3 points, because no one expects you to actually win all the games against the top 6. It is obvious that in certain games you might slip up some points, but the games against teams like Southampton, Crystal Palace and Aston Villa, these are the sort of games that actually provide you that cushion to actually move into the top 4. And right now I think we've got 23 points. The moment we win it, I think we are level on points with Tottenham. So, and we move, I think we have the same points as Newcastle, but a game less or something like that. So, definitely a very very comfortable position to be in, and I hope we move into that position, because and I think if we are able to actually be clinical with our chances, if we are actually able to finish off our chances, I think we could be in a much more better position, like you mentioned. But our front three definitely needs to kick into form. I think it's about time.
It's a good point you make about the other teams that we're going to play, because we have notoriously struggled with them with under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and
Yeah.
under Ralph Ragnick. They are the teams that we always got results against the big teams because we always played on the counter attack. But if you look at the teams we played, we've already played City, we've already played Arsenal, we've already played Liverpool, Newcastle, Tottenham, Chelsea. We've played 9 of the top 10. I think so. Our next 5-6 games or whatever are going to be against the lower side, aside from Fulham, who are 9th at the minute. I think we're going to play the rest of the team near the bottom. So you would like to think, based on that thought, based on the other fixtures that the big teams are going to have, we would start creeping into that top 4 then. And I feel like we will when we head off to Qatar. God knows what's going to happen when we get back from that. Who's going to be injured?
This winter World Cup doesn't make any sense. Not at all.
It doesn't, and the reason why it does is corrupt. That's the only reason why the World Cup is. Yeah, that's the only reason why it's ongoing.
Yeah.
They mentioned 10 years ago when Russia were going to host it and Qatar were going to host it. It's just absolute corruption. If you can't host a World Cup in the summer, you should not be allowed to force it in the winter, because you've got players now going down a week before, and it's just stupid. It makes no sense whatsoever.
And big players as well. I think by the time actually this week, this game week actually ends, I wouldn't be surprised if 2 or 3 players more come out as injured, because I think the timing of this World Cup doesn't make any sense altogether, and the way it is affecting the players as well, I think it's going to take a lot out of them. The change of air and the change of pace, especially at the time of Christmas. I think the Christmas time, and except that as well, I think in a club sort of way, in a season sort of way, it is the Christmas time around which clubs actually start to kick in the season actually catches a lot more heat. You can see the top 4 teams actually getting more impact. You get a much more fairer picture as to who would end up winning the league, or who would be the teams in the end at the top 4. That 1 and 2 point difference between the 4th and the 5th team sides, I think that's the phase when after Christmas, when that actually kicks in. But now we've got the World Cup at at point of time, and then when the players definitely do come back from the World Cup, you never know. I think the transfer window is actually open at that point of time as well. So it's going to be a mess, and a complete mess when the World Cup ends.
Well, two points on that. We come back on the 27th, so we play Nottingham Forest 3 days before the new year. Which is not a bad game to come back to. But let's say, for example, we get there's an injury to Lisandro Martinez, right? He gets injured for a long-term injury. Varane's already kind of injured a little bit. We don't know what's going to happen with him. A player like that coming out of our team, it could be any other. Like, let's say, I don't know, Gabriel Jesus gets injured for Brazil, if he's going with Brazil. He gets an injury, like the Arsenal attack shuts down. It just takes 1 or 2 players dropping, and it could just ruin derail a season. And it's easy as that. And it's because it's been mishandled. It's because there's corruption involved. The reason why there is a World Cup in the winter, I think, it's the most ridiculous thing ever, having it here. But here we are. We've got Fulham and Villa left in the Premiership. And then we've got Villa in the Cup game, which I'm at on Thursday. I think they're the last 3 games. I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure, before we head off for the World Cup, which is mid-November. So very interesting to see what happens. Hopefully we don't pick up any injuries, and hopefully we can have a few players back for tomorrow's game. Going to be interesting. Unless you have any final thoughts, Shreyas, I'll sign us off.
Yeah, definitely. I hope, once again, like you said, we don't really suffer any injuries going into the World Cup or coming out of the World Cup. Hopefully we are active during the transfer window. Hopefully we are able to see this Cody Gakpo coming in. Yeah, definitely. I hope we see Cody Gakpo coming in this window itself, but you can never actually bank on the Glazers for anything.
We'll probably bring a Gallo back. Won't surprise me.
Or Paul Pogba.
Fuck that. He can stay where he is. He's witch doctor.
Yeah, but once again, after 13 people in the chat as well. So please make sure to subscribe to the channel. We're going to be live with the watch along tomorrow as well. We're going to have a review about it as well. So please make sure to stick around. Make sure to come back to the channel tomorrow. And yeah, hope we get the 3 points.
There will be a review. There won't be a watch long. Sorry, Shreyas, just because
Oh.
it's over in England. They're streaming it everywhere else, but in England they're not streaming it, so we won't be able to watch it, unfortunately. And no, it's all right. You didn't know, obviously. Everywhere else, for whatever reason, these 2 o'clock kickoffs and 3 o'clock kickoffs, even though it's the Premier League and the league is in England, they don't show it here live on Sky Sports or BT, but they show it everywhere else. It just makes no sense to me whatsoever. They have this blackout rule, so it encourages fans to go to the games more. That's the whole point of the rule. But it's just, yeah, a game like that tomorrow should be televised, in my personal opinion. Maybe there's a little bit of bias
After a
there.
Qatar World Cup, I don't think 2 or 3 p.m. kickoff should actually matter.
Yeah, it's a very good point. Anyway, that concludes the show for today, guys. Thank you to everyone watching. As Shreyas just kindly mentioned there, please subscribe to the channel, like the video if you're excited for the game tomorrow. As I just said, the game isn't on TV, so there won't be a watch long, but we'll have a review with all the lads after it to discuss. So make sure you tune in for that and turn on your notification bell so you don't miss a show. For updates on Manchester United, transfer news, general news, and clips from our channel, make sure you check out all our handles at the bottom of the graphic, or just head to the description in the video link. Thank you for coming on, Shreyas. It's been a pleasure as always, mate.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And thank you to the viewers for the constant love and support. If you want to make a donation to the Movember challenge that we're doing, if you've been sat on the stream thinking, why has he got a bit of a pedo tash? That is the other reason why. It's because we're doing a challenge for Movember to raise awareness for mental health. So if you want to make a donation, just click the link in the video description or head over to our Instagram. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. It's bonfire night over here in England, so go get seeing some fireworks, have some wine, have some mulled Vimto, all that kind of jazz. And we'll see you in the next one for match day tomorrow. Take care everyone. Peace.